Hi, friends. My name is Toni Cureton. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Life Skills FYI. Life Skills FYI provides a set of core adult capabilities to manage work, family, and relationships successfully. It's designed to help build the skills adults need for life. Life Skills FYI teaches skills of planning, awareness, focus, self-control, and flexibility. They are daily living skills to promote successful independent living, skills that every adult should know, but were never taught in school. You can catch Life Skills premieres on our My Virtual Academy Facebook page and on Instagram every Thursday at 10 a.m. So today we are going to go over some tips that will help you to reduce food waste and save money. As you are well aware, the cost of food in the grocery store is really astronomical. You can get a carton of eggs for $7 for 12 count, which is extremely high for a carton of eggs. Milk is going for $6. That's extremely high. So we want to talk about some tips that you can use to help reduce your food cost, help reduce food waste, and to save you money. So whether you've always been the family chef or are just learning to perfect meal planning and cooking, making food and making your food dollar stretch as far as possible is a challenge that we all face. With the rising cost of food, there is no better time than now to look at some simple ways to help you reduce food waste and to save money. So let's begin at the grocery store. You first need to recognize that food has a shelf life. And yes, there are some canned goods that will probably survive a nuclear attack, but for the most part, pretty much all of the items we buy will go bad if they're not eaten rather quickly. Some you can keep around for maybe, a week or two. Some maybe even for a month or a couple months. But for the most part, most things will go bad within a matter of days. So do you have a plan in place that will help you to consume everything you buy at the grocery store before it goes bad? Because there's nothing worse than, forgetting you purchased this item or forgetting that this is in your refrigerator and you go to open up your refrigerator and you're like, oh my God, I forgot to eat those blueberries. I forgot to eat those raspberries and now they're all molded over. I personally am guilty of that. And that is exactly one of the things that I neglected to monitor, my berries. I buy blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, and within about 3 days, they begin to turn. So when I purchase them, I have to keep in mind, I need to keep in mind that my window to consume these is 3 days. 3 days is my window. If I don't consume them by 3 days, I wind up throwing them away. And these little containers that they come in, they're like, $4 and $5 a container, and you add that up, that's pretty costly, especially if you didn't even get a chance to consume it. So it's important that you have a plan in place to utilize everything you purchase. And to help you do that, one of the things you need to do is to create a meal plan and stick to it. That's key right there. You can create all the plans you want, but if you don't stick to it, then it does you no good. So create a meal plan and stick to it. If you do, this will help you utilize all of the food that you purchase, and nothing will have gone to waste because you consumed it in the amount of time, that you were given, and that food didn't wind up being thrown away. Plan out your breakfast, plan out your lunches and your dinners, and stick to that plan. That way things won't get overlooked and wind up in the trash can, and you will have spent money for something that you didn't get a benefit from. If you purchase foods based on your meal plan and the recipes that you're preparing, it will eliminate excess, number one, and you will eliminate waste, and you will save money. If you plan out a meal for an entire week and you have the recipes for each meal, and then you make your grocery list based on the quantities for those recipes, you won't be buying extra of anything. You'll buy that amount, have it for that meal, and then it's done, and you will have saved money and had a nice, healthy meal for yourself. So that's important. Create a meal plan, a weekly meal plan, and stick to it. Buying your food in the quantities according to your recipes. That way you don't have a lot of excess, and you eliminate food waste. Next, you need to learn how to properly store your food. Once you get your groceries home, do a quick inventory of the things that you purchase and what will go bad quickly, like fruits and vegetables. Storing food properly helps to extend the life of your fresh produce and reduces food waste and saves you money. Check the settings on your refrigerator vegetable keepers. Make sure that they are within the proper range to preserve your foods and keep it at their freshest. Also, you could consider buying green bags. They sell them now at every grocery store, Walmart. Green bags are for storing fruits and vegetables, and they actually extend the life of your fruits and vegetables because it keeps your food fresher longer. Next, you need to keep a pantry inventory. You need to manage your pantry, your cabinets, or wherever it is you store your groceries at home. You need to know what you have on hand. If you do, it's easy for you to remember and keep track of things because it really is super easy to push things back in your refrigerator or your freezer, and then you forget about what's actually there, and you forget about them sitting on your shelf, and then that creates waste. So you don't want to do that. Save money by keeping a list of the items that are in your pantry, in your refrigerator, in your freezer, in your cupboards, wherever you keep your food. You should have a list right on the door, right outside the door, that has everything listed that's in that area. And then you should create recipes based on what's in your pantry. There are many databases, there are many websites online that you can go to, and you can look up recipes based on the ingredients that you have in your pantry, your refrigerator, your freezer, and you can create your meals based on that. There are countless number of recipes out there, and I'm sure it should be no problem for you to find one that will please your family and that they'll enjoy, as well as utilize all of the food items that you have in your food storages. Next, you need to rotate your food. Rotating your food in your pantry, your refrigerator, your freezer is crucial. You do that by placing the newer purchased items in the rear and pushing the older items in front. That way, when you go to grab that can of V8 juice or grab that chicken breast or grab those eggs, you are taking it from the front, which is the oldest, and the newer product is behind it, which means that it will be the freshest when you go to get that. Again, do this in your pantry, do this in your refrigerator as well as your freezer. Also, in your refrigerator, label your food. Mark on your packages when you purchase these items. That way, if you purchased more, like say, if you bought, a dozen eggs and you've not quite gone through the entire carton, but you purchased another dozen because you went to the store, mark the date on these packages. And then that way you'll know, okay, this one I purchased on, March 6th. And then the next one I purchased on February 27th. So you know to use the February one first because it's the oldest. The newest date goes behind. The same applies for your freezer. Everything you put in the freezer, you need to put the purchase date on each item so you know when you bought it and how long it has to be in your freezer and still remain fresh. Most fresh meats in the freezer can last up to 12 months. Other items such as fish can last between 4 and 6 months, and chicken can last in between 9 and 12 months. Make sure when you buy these items to put in your freezer, you mark the date on them so that you'll know when exactly you purchased each of them. Knowing what's in your food storage, whether it's your pantry, your refrigerator, your freezer, will keep you from purchasing duplicate food items. And this will help you save money because now you won't be at the store thinking, oh, I don't have this. And then you get home and you find that you really do because you forgot what was in the storage area. Also, you need to prepare recipes that will use the items that you have on hand. Those are the recipes you should be creating for your weekly meal plan. That way, no food goes to waste. And keep a written inventory on the outside of your refrigerator, your freezer, and your pantry doors or your cupboards, wherever you store your food. Keep a written inventory. That way, you can always look and see at a glance what you have on hand, and it will eliminate waste and it will save you money. Also, you need to become less leftover savvy. You need to use the leftovers creatively that you have in your refrigerator when you prepare meals. Maybe you've made a pot of chili and your family didn't eat all of it, and there's like half a pot of it left. Well, now it's time for you to become creative and figure out a way to serve this meal again, because leftovers are not a bad word, but you will be surprised as to how many people have a problem with leftovers. I personally don't have a problem with leftovers. I like leftovers. They taste just as good as they did the first time that I made, that I make something. But my husband, he will eat on a meal no longer than 2, maybe 3 days, depending on what it is. After that, he won't eat it anymore. And I remember when we first got married and I discovered this about him, I'm like, oh my God, are you crazy? How that is just so That is just so bizarre to me. There is nothing wrong with leftovers. They are just as filling, they are just as tasty as they were when you first made the meal. But if you have, a family that don't really care to eat the food again the next day, now you have to be creative as to how you're going to consume this meal and not waste it, because you can't just throw it away. That makes absolutely no sense at all. So one of the things that you can do to fix this problem is to freeze it. You know, the freezer and the microwave, they truly can transform a leftover meal into, something really delicious. Not only will you reduce your grocery bill, but you'll spend less time in the kitchen cooking or at a restaurant. And that's one of the key reasons why I cook, in the sense of having leftovers. I purposely cook with the intention of having leftovers, because that means I don't have to be in the kitchen slaving over a hot stove every single day. I can, make a 2 or 3 day meal and maybe slave over the stove 3 out of 7 days in a week. That's very beneficial if, you have a busy schedule and you don't have time to be in the kitchen to do all of this cooking. At the end of the meal, store your leftovers so that they will be convenient and easy to use. Many families, they like using leftovers to create their own frozen entrees. Do you know how much Stouffer meals in the freezer or lean cuisine meals in the freezer cost? They cost a lot. But if you make a meal and you put it in a portion section container and then label it and freeze it, you can then at any time pull that meal out and throw it in the microwave and have a wonderful, delicious dinner or a lunch even. You can prepackage them for your lunches, for your kids or yourself. It is so super easy and it's convenient, and it saves you a ton of money, because now you're not spending your lunch hours going to restaurants. You are eating the delicious meals that you're preparing from home. You are also, and this is an extra bonus, you are also helping to control the kinds of food that you eat, the quantity of food that you eat, and what goes in the food that you eat, which can help you lose weight if that is a goal for yourself. So be creative with your leftovers. If you serve chili one day, then add some nacho chips and cheese, and now you've got nachos the next day. Be creative with your food, and that way you won't waste a lot of it. Freeze it, label it, package it up for nice dinners or even lunches for yourself or your kids. Many schools, many offices have microwaves and refrigerators that you can store your food and eat during lunchtime. Next, limit the amount of restaurants that you go to. When you do go out, though, portion sizes in restaurants are super huge. When they set your plate in front of you, cut your plate in half. Only eat half your meal, purposely intending to take the other half as lunch or dinner the next day. This way, you will have a 2 times saving benefit, because you purchase the meal and then you utilize the meal for another meal at lunch or dinner the next day. Savings, keeping money in your pocket, eliminating waste, and, helping your food budget extend and expand so that you can have money to do other things. So here you have it. These are all simple ways that you can use to reduce your food bill by at least 20% or more and eliminate a lot of waste because you're following these simple tips. Don't have to do anything drastic, and you don't have to deprive yourself in order to save yourself some money and stretch your food budget. And all of these things are super easy, and it's a simple way to create some new habits for yourself that will help you stretch your food dollar. Well, friends, that is all my time for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me. My number is 586-842-0558. That's 586-842-0558. Again, my name is Toni Cureton. Thank you again for tuning in to Life Skills, FYI, and always remember to adult responsibly.